This video we're going to take a look at the Adobe Illustrator interface. I'm going to show you around, and introduce you to some of the things you need to be aware of. Now I am currently using Illustrator CC. If you're using an earlier version, some things may be a little different in parts, but in principle it should be the same. If you have Illustrator open, and wish to follow along, you will need to first come up to Window. Scroll down to Workspace, then scroll down and select Essentials, then to make sure you end up with the same setup you see here, we must again go to Window, Workspace, and then scroll down and select Reset Essentials. This will set the interface to the Essentials default layout. And you should have something that looks like this. What you will come to learn later on is that you can customize this layout, but what would help right now is for you to have the same layout so you can follow along with me. So this is Adobe CC, and with CS6 and CC we have this dog interface. If you're using an earlier version, you will be looking at the light interface. Now if for whatever reason you wish to toggle the interface color, if you come to Edit menu on the, and scroll down to Preferences. On Select User Interface, you can toggle the lightness and darkness here. I'm going to go with Medium Dock, so to begin I'm going to open up a document. To follow along, you can also open up this document. This can be found in the Introduction folder, in the Project folder, so you can download this folder for free. The download link is in the description. When you have the project folder, simply open it. Okay, so let's take a closer look at the interface. On the far left, we have this Tool Slim panel. This is the Tools panel, and contains all the tools that can be used in Illustrator, and as you can see we have lots of icons. To activate the tools we simply click it, or press one of the many shortcut buttons on the keyboard. We know which tool is active because it has a highlight to square behind it on the Tools panel, and also you will notice that the mouse cursor will change, indicating which tool we have active in Illustrator. We will be using many tools, and most tools have their own unique mouse cursor. Now if we look carefully, we can also see that some of the icons have little white arrows in the bottom right corner. If we click and hold on the icon, this will reveal more tools in that set. For example, if I click and hold on the pen tool, we can see an extra 3 tools within that set. If I click on the Shift tool, we can see a variety of shapes that can be created very easily, and if we move mouse cursor over the top on the right, we can expand the tools planned out, which could be very useful. I want to move this, we can simply click the X in the top left corner. So keep in mind that some tools work sets. Now, if we take a closer look at the bottom of this panel, we can see 2 overlapping squares, one a page to be a block and one a page to be an outline of a square. Now if you're new to Illustrator, you may not be familiar with this. What this represents is the fill color on the stroke color of an object on the canvas area. The top square is the fill, and the background square is to stroke. So right now, we can see that the fill color on the top is white, and the stroke color is black. Now if I come over to the canvas area, in Selected Object, to do this, I will first need to choose the Selection tool. This tool is located at the top of the Tools menu, and is recognized as the black arrow. With this active, let's select this yellow circle here, then you can see that the fill color and stroke in the bottom of the Tools menu has changed in accordance to the selected object. We can see the fill color is yellow and the stroke is orange. This is important, because it helps tell us that this object is just one object, I'm not 2 separate objects. For example, with the object selected, I can click and move this around like so. I'm just going to undo that, and put it back in place, and if I come over, and select another object, we can see, to fill color and stroke, it will change again. Now if you look closely, just about the fill and stroke color on the Tools panel, we have this little button here, called Swap Fill and Stroke. And if I press this, it's going to swap the stroke and color felt like so. So very easily we can swap the full color and stroke color. Now to the left of the swap fill and stroke, we have another little button, and this is the default fill and stroke. If I press this, it's going to set my fill and stroke squares to black and white. To keep in mind, if you have an object selected on your canvas area, like I have this circle selected, and press it, you will see, the object has changed to black and white, with the default stroke applied. So, I'm going to undo this, click off the object to the select, and click on the default filling stroke button, and now, we are back to the default black and white stroke and fill. So, as you can see, the tools menu is currently in 2 columns. If we look closely, up to the top left of the tools panel we can see these little arrows pointing left. If I come and click this once, we can change the panel to a single column, and if we press this again, we can go back to the double column. For the duration of this course I'm going to click this and set my tools panel to a single row. Now if we move to the top of a window, we can see the standard tool raw from. Here we can access various properties and controls, but we are not going to touch on that too much right now. Just under the top tools bar we have the control panel. Now this control panel is really useful, as this will display various properties of a particular tools, all object you have selected at any given time, and select an object on the canvas area. Let's select this blue circle here. Now you will see the control panel change in accordance to the object, just like we can see at the bottom of the tools panel the fill and color stroke has changed, but also we can see this on the control panel. If we click down, we can access the swatches panel and change the color of the fill and the stroke very easily. Also here we have the stroke property. Here we can easily talk of the stroke size, and also I can adjust the variable width from a choice of options. If I come across, I can also change the brush definition and even toggle the opacity of this object. So I'm going to undo all this and the deselect object by clicking off it. Over to the right hand side, we have another slang panel, not like the tools panel, over on the left. This contains an array of sub-panels, but all represented by these icons. What you will soon discover is that these panels, like the control panel or essential, in order to produce work in Adobe Illustrator, in order to have a swift workflow in this program, it will help to have a comfortable setup. All these panels now in Illustrator. You can arrange these panels in various ways. I'll be demonstrating how to do this in the next episode, and recommended an effective setup, though what you see here is a default setup. Now as we click down the panels on each icon, we will begin to feel the panels. For example, we have color, swatches, brushes, and stroke. Now, these panels contain various tools and properties regarding objects on the canvas. Also, if you look carefully, these panels also include sub-panel as tops. For example, on this stroke panel, we also have the gradient panel on the transparency panel. If we come down and click on the layer panel, we can see that all objects in the document are existence on one layer, and I control the visibility of this. And if I click on the artboard tab, we can see this document contains full artboard. Of all documents, we can use this to zoom in and out of all documents like so. To the right of this, we have the artboard navigation. We can use this to quickly maneuver through the document to particular artboard, for this will give you a clear indication of which all your own at any given time. So next, I want to touch on document tabs. Now what all document tabs? Okay, so currently, we have this document open, and if we look carefully, in the top left corner, just under the control panel, we have a tab that shows a document name. Now sometimes, you may find yourself using multiple documents at any given time. For example, let's quickly create a new document. I'm going to come to File, New, and just click OK, and there it is. And let's make one more, and we have another. Now look again closely, at the top left, just under the control panel, and this time, we have 3 tabs. Now we can click these to navigate to other documents. If I kept the fall left tab, we'll back to all first document, and if I quickly selected an object, and press Command or Control C to copy, I can click on the third tab, to go back to the new document, and simply pasting the object into the canvas like so. So, when we start to use multiple documents later on in the course, we will be using document tabs in this way. Now I'm going to close these 2 docs down by kicking the X on the fall left of the tabs, until I am back to my original document. The last thing I want to talk about here is the canvas area. When you create the document, you will have a white area, which represents your artboard size, and a gray area around the canvas. As you can see, we have 4 artboards sitting on the gray area. The gray area here is called the pasteboard. We can put any art we want on this which we don't want to include in our main composition. This is pretty handy if we want to keep bits of artwork on the side to use later. In my example, we can see I have some vector artwork sitting in a pasteboard area here. So that's a brief overview of the Adobe Illustrator interface. In the next video I'll be taking a closer look at the work panels, where I'll be showing you how you can customize your panel layout to get a comfortable workspace. So I'll see you in the next video.